Hi, I'm Brett. Today we've got an interesting update for you. It's a Nissan GTR 35, and as you can see behind me, this is a car that we have in our workshop from time to time. It is a pretty popular car from a performance point of view, no matter where you are in the world. And the fantastic thing with this model is it's got some really good features that can be further improved with some pretty easy upgrades to make the car even better than factory standard, depending on what year you got. Now, this particular one belongs to a client of ours. It come in for a custom tune on the engine and the transmission, remembering they're both separate ECU control mechanisms that act independently but also talk to each other. But the good thing is they can be custom tuned independently. So you can tune the engine ECU or you can tune the transmission ECU for great benefits and features and added features as well, which you can get off our RaceROM website. But when they're both done together, that adds even more features together again. So remember that you don't have to do both at the same time, you can actually do them separately. So what we're going to talk about in this video is some of the things that we've done from a servicing point of view, because the client bought this car, didn't realise that it hadn't been serviced correctly, or we've done a complete update to it, but we thought it was an opportunity to talk about some of the modifications it's got as well. And you can see it's got a pretty cool exhaust system which has been fitted with the big dual outlets on the back and the under tray where it's all fitted through here. And what I wanted to also touch on whilst we move towards the front of the car with the exhaust system is the transmission. Now, when it's in for a service, this particular transmission, when you pull this pan off, there are two filters. Both of them are commonly overlooked when the car is being serviced correctly, and to make sure that the transmission operates in its best environment is to make sure it's got clean oil inside it and the right oil, but also make sure the filters are correctly cleaned and assembled at the same time. Excuse me. So when you pull this pan off, immediately you'll see the vertical filter, and I'll show you one in a sec, and a horizontal filter. And then above that is the Mechatronic unit, which is effectively the valve body brain of the way the transmission operates and controls the hydraulic fluid inside the transmission. And we also did a small modification to that as well, and I'll tell you about that in a second as well. So the transmission on this model car sits up the back, because this is the rear diff, and then you've got the drive shaft down through the middle, and of course you can see the rest of the twin turbo outlets with the modified exhaust system coming out the back of the engine here, which is quite interesting to see the way it all fits up inside. And of course, as I said earlier, we've done a custom tune on this particular car, and it goes really well. So up the front, he's already put a different front nose on it with a carbon fibre assembly, and remembering this car is four-wheel drive. It's got some pretty good brakes and some other features as well. But you probably want to know about what we've done with the modifications for the transmission, and I've just got these parts to one side. So here's the old filter, which you can see it's quite a large surface area, and this is the part inside. And then this is the other filter, which is inside the transmission, which are service items that are normally recommended to be replaced when you do a transmission service on this car. And remember, it is really important to use the right type of transmission oil. So when you pull the pan off, there's obviously a pan gasket. But then what we also do is when you take these filters out, we then put these clips in through the bottom of the Mechatronic unit to locate the magnets in place. Now, the magnets are a proximity sensing device that effectively allows the electronic brain of the transmission to know when it's in gear, to make sure it's selecting gears correctly. And there is a further modification that we then do when you pull the Mechatronic unit out and you put these little clips in place, which further improves the effective sensing of the location of those magnets when the transmission is operating. And this is not a Nissan part, this is an aftermarket part. It's something that we recommend. It effectively just makes the transmission operate that little bit better. Now, it's a bit hard for me to show you in the actual transmission of the car, but what I've got here is the Mechatronic unit out of the Lancer rally out, and the transmission is beside me here because we've got one dismantled. And this is the Mechatronic unit out of the Lancer rally out and the Evo 10 SST transmission. It operates in a very similar way, albeit a different design transmission. Now, these parts here are the sensing devices that then are connected to the Mechatronic unit. You can see the solenoids that control the hydraulic valves, which are controlled by the circuit board, which is underneath here. You can't see it from there. And what we do inside the R35 is put these clips in a location that allow the sensors in the R35 Mechatronic unit to sense the location of the transmission forks and the magnets more accurately. Now, it's not a modification that we have available for the Evo 10 or the Rally Art, but it's a good way to give you an example of how this particular part works. So if you've got an R35 and you haven't done this modification, or more importantly, you haven't changed these filters on your transmission, ask yourself the question, has the transmission been serviced correctly? Because we asked this client and he wasn't sure. And of course, when we drained the oil, it was filthy dirty. And of course, the filters, from our point of view, were very, very dirty and were overdue for replacement as well. So this is all part of the maintenance schedule of the car, which is highly recommended, and it is what's recommended by Nissan as well. So there you go, a bit more information about your Nissan R35 GTR. It's a fantastic fun car to work on. It's a fantastic fun car to modify and tune. Remember, go to our website at MRT Tune for more information on how we can further improve the performance on this particular car with custom tuning using race-ROM technology. And of course, if you need some servicing, here's a good example of what we do. But for today, my name is Brett Middleton. Thanks for watching.